One of the more classic ways to play the game of craps is with a system called the three-point molly. The three-point molly is a come betting system where you have 3 come bets in action, each with max odds. You could do the don't as well. And the idea is that as those come bets come down and get paid, you replace the come bet, repeat the process, and recycle over and over again. Any cycling strategy tends to be a little bit of a bleed. Max odds on every come bet, to me, seems a little bit risky, so I've tweaked it a little bit. You're calling it the three-point Johnny here. We're gonna take some different odds. We're gonna use our profits in a different way and have a little bit of fun playing the game here. It's a nice, engaging strategy. High risk, high reward. It builds in all 3 phases. Get them on, to get them over, and to get them in. It actually attacks the table in a really interesting and fun way. I'm John. This is Pro Craps. Join me as I teach you the three-point Johnny. It's the three-point Johnny. It's just like the three-point Molly, but my style is what this basically is. The three-point Johnny system is going to be very, very Molly-like. It's going to be 3 come bets, just like the three-point Molly. The difference is, as you can probably guess, I'm going to do it with progressive odds. So when my come bets travel up, we're going to go no odds on the 4 and 10, double on the 5 and 9, and max on the 6 and 8. Again, I'm gonna play the odds, lay the odds, put more money out there in bankroll based on the winnability of the bet. And remember, the come bets, as you know, have to hit twice. They gotta get to the number and then get hit when they're at the number. So that double hit, it's a whole factor of probability that they get hit again based on their actual probability. So it becomes tough to hit those things twice. The 6 and 8, getting hit once in a roll is about a 25% chance, just once after the points comes out. Getting hit a second time, you reduce down to about 15% or so. The 4 and 10, that second hit reduces back down to about 9%. So these odds that we lay or that we take on these bets are based on the winnability of the bet in question. Now, the regular three-point Molly, the way that you play the regular three-point Molly is as the come bets go, they get paid, they come down, you put another come bet, and you always have 3 come bets working. It's a rolling system, okay? I have found that rolling systems are a recipe for failure. Every time I've tried a rolling system, you catch a hot roll and you're gonna be great. But on the general rhythm of craps, the rolling systems tend to fail. So what I'm gonna do here with the three-point Johnny is what I love to do anyway. I like to transition out of strategies. This whole series that we've been doing with this idea of playing a 3-phase strategy where you get them on, you get your bets out there, you win enough money with those first set of bets quickly to pay for your second round of bets. And that second round of bets' job is to get you some profit. And then if you get to the third round, which doesn't always happen, you go after hard. This strategy, I think I build that into that whole strategy. So this one doesn't really transition from the three-point Johnny into a 44 inside. The three-point Johnny becomes 44 inside as it gets played. And what I mean by that is you play your come bet. And again, I'm looking for the advantage on the 7 and 11 in the come. That's a 1-roll bet. We like that. We like that about the come bets. We get that extra spiff if it works out for our favor. As the bet goes into the number, once it travels to a number and we get our odds on there, when that bet comes down and gets paid, assuming that it does, we reinvest that bet. I take that winning bet and I'm gonna probably rack, I will rack the original back to my rack. So I get my rack becomes even as we go. The winnings get reinvested somewhere else on the table. They'll get reinvested either into the don't come. If I feel like I wanna go dark, they can get reinvested into place bets, which is most likely what I do. If I'm on the right side, I tend to stay there, at least for 1 round through. So come bet goes out, it gets paid and comes back to your rack. The winnings get reinvested as place bets. And that way you transition from come bet to place bet. In the process, your rack becomes totally clear. If all the 3 come bets get paid, all that money comes back to your rack and you're even after the first round and you're already set up with your inside bets or your outside bet, whatever you're targeting. So I use this as a way to transition from come bets to place bets. And if I decide to play it from the don't, or I decide to play it with don't come bets, I can take those winnings and either move into the don't or take those winnings and pile up on a lay bet on the don't pass. So a couple ways to move your money around. And again, this strategy, unlike other strategies where I try to like I said, play a strategy that's aggressive and then get out of it and move into something else. This one is more pre-designed to feed itself. It becomes phase one and it becomes its own phase two strategy by reinvesting the payments. And that's what I do. So that's, you'll like, I see that On Point is saying that he likes the Molly. The 3-point Molly is a good way to play, but what I find in general is that whenever you're rolling money out of your bankroll all the time, you end up bleeding. That last couple of bets ends up never paying off. And I find that the rolling bet strategies tend to have a problem with sustainability. So this one here is a scoped bet. It's 3 come bets, and we transition out of those bets as fast as we can. And when I show you on the table how this works, you'll see, oh yeah, I see what he's doing. We're getting our rack even. I'm always about getting the rack even before I go hard. And that's sort of what we're at here. So with that said, let's go ahead and switch to the table, and I'll give you a little view here of how this works, and then I'll roll it out for a little bit. Here we go. The way that this bet system works is this. We're gonna look at our rack, and what I've got in my rack is $600, right? No, I got too many. $600 in the rack, all right? Which amounts to, what is that? 4, 8, 12, 24 units or so. We might need to go to 30, we might need to go to 30 units. We'll see how this works out. As we go, I'm going to keep my eye on the rack and see when we're even. And as this plays out, you'll see what I mean. I'm gonna fake it all first. We're gonna go here and say, our first bet will be a come bet. And let's just assume that these things travel someplace nice. It goes to the 9. That'll get double odds, okay? The next come bet comes out and it travels, let's say, to the 6. And I'll do max on the 6. As you know, we'll do max odds on the 6, 5 units. And then we have one that goes to the 10, okay? And that's our 3 come bets. 3-point Johnny is set up in this way. The 5 and 9 get double odds. The 6 and 8 get max odds. The 4 and 10 get 0 odds. That would be an interesting roll. We have one of each here. What would happen if they pay? Now again, pay attention to how I manage the rack here, because this is gonna be important. Let's say the 10 gets paid. It's gonna come down and we're gonna get paid a quarter for it. So 1-to-1, that's the worst payment in the table, frankly, right? This bet on the 10 should pay 2-to-1, we're getting paid half what we should get paid. Had we had the odds, obviously the mathematics work, but again, the likelihood of it paying, that's why I do this. Regardless, we're gonna get a payment. I'm going to put the original bet that I had back in my rack. I'm gonna rack back what I started with. That's an important piece to this thing. This payment here gets reinvested, and what I'll probably do is say, give me the 4 and 10. So we're gonna get paid in reds. We'll pick up the 10 and the 4, and I'll take a nickel back. Matter of fact, I may even grab the hard 10, right? But for now, we'll put it in the rack. So I take the winning, or the base bet that I had before, it goes back into my rack, I reinvest my winnings. Now let's say the 9 comes out and wins, and the 9 is gonna win. You get paid 1-to-1 on the flat bet and 3-to-2 on your odds bet. What we do again, let's reset things here. We'll take all this money here. I'm gonna reset my rack. So there's 4 units. I'll separate it up. There's 5 sets of 4, and there's a set of 2 in there, okay? I take those winnings, $25 from the winnings, and I'm gonna grab the 5 and the 9. And again, it doesn't matter which ones you grab. You can grab the 6 and 8 first if you want to. We'll take that quarter out. We're gonna grab the 9 and the 5, and now I have 2 reds in what could be potentially seen as profit. Should the 6 come down and get paid, once again, we get paid flat on the front, and the 125 pays 150 on the odds. Come back to my rack, and again, I will put, my rack is set, right? My original bankroll is back. My first goal, take my winnings, replace what I put out there. So now I'm back to where I started. This now came back as profit from that roll. And what I can do here, because I want to be aggressive with the 6 and 8 maybe, is take a $30 6 and 8 and rack up these winnings as the first bit of profit. Now this has transitioned itself from phase 1, which was get to base. It became its own base by reinvesting the wins in the box. It became its own phase 2 because all 3 bets paid, we end up with that phase 2 profit, and now we're automatically into phase 3, and we get to go and beat the crap out of these place bets. And that's the idea. This strategy actually runs into itself as we go. So that's the way that the 3-point Johnny plays out. It starts out as a simple come bet strategy, but it moves directly into high percentage or high profit potential play. That's the idea of this strategy. So instead of just keep coming, we come and reinvest. Now, you're gonna have exposure points in this strategy, of course. Where it breaks down, 2 main places it breaks down. I'll use these to put the bets back out, as you can see them. The 10, the 9 with 2 odds, and the 8 with 5x odds. Where the strategy is gonna have a problem is on the come out rolls, right? Obviously, you gotta get them up here. Now you've got to hit them again, so that's hard to do anyway. You're looking for a good roll. The 7's gonna be your enemy the entire time. When the puck is off and the come out roll is happening, again, any come bet strategy, your flat bets are guaranteed to be exposed on the come out roll. Your odds bet can be turned off. You can hide these odds from the come out. I go back and forth on what the right thing to do is with that come out roll. Mathematically, it doesn't matter. The 7 is going to come when the 7's going to come, whether it's a come out roll or not. The dice don't know what kind of roll it is. The dice just are going to roll. So to me, if it was good enough to put odds on there before, I may as well leave them on. So I tend to leave my odds on the come out rolls. I get bit sometimes for sure. I'll probably get bit today doing this, but I believe that you're fighting the 7 anyway. Fight it hard the whole way, and I want those odds to pay off. That's my goal. So with that said, let's restock our bank here. Let's get our puck turned off, and I'm gonna roll this out a couple of times. We'll see how this thing does live here, but that's the run-up of the strategy right there. It's very simple. 3 come bets, reinvest your winnings into the box, and roll through it, and that's it. Let me switch my view here for us. And I'm seeing a couple of questions come through. I'm looking at some stuff. 3 wise inept. Let's see. Why do you think generally often the come out roll? I think it's the house advantage. And I'm seeing some Vince questions too. Yeah, right. So Vincent, you're right about it. And we've talked about this before. And matter of fact, maybe what I'll do real quick is this. Why is the come bet so big? I'm gonna make everybody mad right now. Before I roll this thing out, let me go back to the other view here. And I'm gonna give you like the argument of come bet, place bet. I hate the argument. I'm frankly a little bit bored by it. But let's look at something really quick. I've done this so many times, but you should see this. Let's take 2 players. Okay, a come better and a place better. The place better invests $12 on the 8. Okay, the come better invests $25 in the come. I'm not going to take the odds. Okay, or we could. It doesn't really matter if we take odds or not. Matter of fact, we'll do it. We'll do this. We'll do $5 come bet. Okay, on the first payment, the first time the 8 rolls, we move in, and the place better gets paid $14 and presses to 24. Okay, the come better moves in there, and just to keep it even, I'm gonna put 4 times odds, 4x odds. So both players have the exact same amount of money invested, or both the same amount of money in play. $24 place bet now, 20 plus 5, so $25 come bet out here. Both players have the same amount of money on the table. This player has half the amount of money invested in the table. He's invested $12, okay? Invested $12, actually invested $10 because he got 2 back. He's $10 in, this guy's $25 in. And when the payment comes back and the place better gets paid 28 and the come better gets paid, what is he gonna get paid? 5 on the flat, and he's gonna get paid 24 on the backside. He gets paid a little bit less actually than this guy here does. His total win here is 29 versus 20. He wins $1 more than the place better did, but he had double the risk. He had to put $25 out there to get that payment, where the place better had a $12 or a $10 investment. So that to me ends the argument of which is the better payout. I don't give a damn about the house edge, right? you got to hit that thing twice. And if I'm placing the number for half the amount, right? And if I just pressed it up once, we're in the same spot. I think that, to me, is the way to kind of talk about that. If you're going to press it up, if you're going to take same bet on the place bet, then the come better has the advantage over you. But if you're doing that, there's no way you can make the argument that the come bet is the better bet to make in that circumstance if you bet the place bet properly. That's a thing. However, the hop action you get in the come is great. I win on that so often. That's a great side bet to me. To me, the come bet is a side bet. And Vince is right. It's enormous because they want you to play it, right? The odds bet back here is not even listed because they don't want you to play the odds because they pay true. So all that said, it doesn't matter. None of that shit matters at all. What matters is how often you get paid. The amount you get paid, if it's $1 less or $1 more or 0.5% here, I don't give a damn. I want to get paid, and I calculate things that I do based on the likelihood that a bet will produce money coming in this direction. That's all I care about. How many times does money come to me? And what do I do with the money that I get? That's, I think, the way that I strategize things. So anyway, all that said, let's switch back to the 3-point Johnny and let's roll this thing out. So what I'm gonna do again, we've got our six pack in here, 6 shots of 4. So $600 in my rack. Keep an eye on the rack. If this thing rolls out in a good way, we'll be able to kind of manage our rack like I showed you and make some cash. Here we go. We're gonna come get a point established first. I'm gonna bypass the come out roll. Even though the pass line and the come is the same thing, I bypass the come out. I like to have 3 come bets working that I can move around versus 2 come bets that I can move and 1 bet that's stuck. I can't replay that money. So this is how I do it. On the 6 we go. First come bet's gonna come out. I'll give you another point here of debate as we get through this. There's gonna be a 6, 4, 10. So there's our ugly scenario. We go to the 10. I'll get this next one set and then we'll talk through. Here we go. There's the 1, 3, 4. So both my come bets, my first 2 go to the worst possible numbers, which is okay. And again, no odds on those. And there's our 5, 2, 7. So here's the case where it's a bummer. We lose 2, but we get paid 1 back. So our rack is actually light 1 unit right now. We're gonna come out. Like I said, I like this part of the system, but with this bet where they're all the same size, there's no protection. If you recall back, the Headless Horseman would have had a don't pass here. We would have been okay in that spot. Okay, back on the 6 again we go. And come bet. It goes back to the 10, 6, 4, 10. Second come bet. It's a yo, 6, 5 yo. So that actually takes care of the loss we had before, which is good. We're back to, technically speaking, we're even right now. 6, 4, 10, so that pays. That's basically, they call this an off and on situation. This bet will come down and get paid. This one comes back up. I'll leave 1 in the come and 1 goes to the rack. So there's the case where, had I had odds, we would have been in great shape. We didn't have odds, we're not in great shape. It's okay, right? Infrequent win there. So here we go again, where this bet will lose on the 7. The come bet will pay on the 7. Our rack is clear, and I have a chip here that I could use to do a place bet now, okay? But we haven't gotten set yet. Let's go ahead and get our point rolling, and I'll show you what I'm gonna do here. We're gonna get this thing going. 7 on the come out. Another come out 7. Lucky we had no come bets there, right? Okay, 5, 4, 9. Our point will be 9. And we're gonna have, I'll use this back out in the come. Excuse me. We have an option to take this and do the 2 place bet thing, which we can do, but I like to do that after the 3 are set. I'm gonna play it out this way and get a couple of come bets rolling here. I want you to see the rhythm of the system, but this could have easily turned into a 6 and 8 place bet. Instead, it's gonna go to the 4. Let's see if we can't get 3 bets set. It's kind of a struggle here today. There it is again, the 7 again. Once again, that pays that. Back to the rack we go. Our profit's up here. Puck is gonna be off again. We'll come out. kind of tough to get a rhythm with these dice today, it seems like. There's the 8 coming out. All right, that goes, finally something interesting happens. We go to the 9. We'll put double odds on that and have our second comeback come out. Now, here's a situation where if the 7 comes now, you're going to lose 3 and get paid 1. You could elect to wait to put your odds on until all 3 bets are set. I've done that in the past. That feels like it's the wrong thing to do, but it's an option that I have explored in the past. Aces steals a bet. Hard 10. No odds taken here. And hopefully our third comeback will get set and we can get some payments going. Nope, not happening today. Our dice are not cooperating. So we'll lose 4 units, unfortunately. Get paid a pittance back here in the come. Back to the rack we go. We're now down 3, unfortunately. 314 is a new point. And I hope that you're catching the rhythm here. I like this strategy a lot, but even though we're not getting a lot of payments, and I'll talk about this as we go here. That's going to go to the 9. We're going to take double odds on it. And come out here. Even though this feels like, oh, the comeback's going here, it's never getting paid again. If I was place betting, I would have got paid on the 9. True, but as fast as our 7s are coming, even though you would have got paid on the 9 if you had pressed it up, and that 7 comes as fast as it does, you're still not really collecting anything. This isn't a case where the place better is going to have any kind of big advantage, because most likely in these early rolls, you're just pressing up early. Goes to the 6, that's going to be a big one. We're going to take 5x on that and have our next comeback come out. Here we go. Last comeback, let's get it set and let's have something hit, shall we? Good, that goes to the 4. So I've got the okay situation, right? A 4, not great. 9, so-so. The Jan Brady of come betting, right? And here's the 6. It's a good, strong number. I'm leaving the odds on. We're going to have our odds on the come out. I want to get every chance I have to take money away. Leave them on. We get an 8 for our point. Now we're back to the 8. Write it out. Again, now we're in a spot where we take our winnings and reinvest the winnings if we get some. There's a 6-5 yo. 6-5 yo. A 1, 2, 3 shocker. There's a hard or a soft easy 10. 6-4 easy 10. And there's a 6-3-9. So we finally get a payment, which is good. That comes down. We're gonna get paid 1 flat, 3 on the odds. Let's put this back to our rack. Let's get our rack reset back here. So there's 3, 4. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of 4 plus 1. I'm gonna take that $25 and we're gonna grab the 5 and 9 with it. So I'm gonna take $25 in red. We're gonna grab the 9 and the 5. I'm also gonna take this $5 and grab the hard 4. If this happens to come, hopefully it comes hard and we can get a little bit of extra juice out of that thing. So 1 bet paid gets our rack close. If the 6 happens to come here, we're gonna be just fine in our rack. We're gonna be fully transitioned and we'll be A-okay. There's a 1, 3, 4, easy 4. So it's a bummer, we lose the 5 on that. This 4 comes down though, and we'll get paid on that 4. I'll rack the quarter back. I'm gonna take that payment in, we'll take 4 reds and 5 whites. I'm gonna grab the 8 as a place bet, and I'm gonna grab the 10 as a place bet and rack $3. So I'm gonna take that entire $25 and reinvest it back out here. Now I'm transitioning, right? We're getting out of 2 of our come bets have paid off, and we're grabbing all these as place bets, technically speaking, for free. These are paid for by the come bets, and those come bets came back to the rack and reset the rack to where it's square again. We just need the 6 to hit for us and we'll be fine. We'll be fully transitioned and we can start playing the right side from the place bet standpoint, if that 6 can come. And again, we're battling back from a couple of losses there early on. So there's the 5-1-6, so that couldn't have worked out any better for us. So again, it comes down, 1 to 1 on the flat, and we get paid $150 on our odds. Let's see, 3, there we go, $150 on the odds. Okay, all this can come back. Now we're gonna reset. There's our rack is now clean. That's our starting bankroll. This now is our profit stack. We've got, after that nice hit, we have 150 in profit, 153, I suppose. This 25, let's change it. Get the 6 and the 4. I'll take this 3 back to the rack. Quarter goes back to the bank. And now if I want to, I can grab hard ways. And again, I always, you know me, my 4 and my 10s, I'll grab my 4 and my 10 hard way. I'll even grab the 8 hard. I'll put those whites back in play. And we're set. This strategy has transitioned from its core. As it pays, as they pay, you're resetting your rack. Remember, phase 2 of my system is phase 1, get to base. We got to base. Getting to base means your original bets are paid for. And phase 2 then says, with your new base, take profit. This betting system builds the profit into resetting base. So as I bring my original bets back to my rack, I'm at the same time putting profit in there. And now I'm in phase 3. Phase 3 is you have profit. And in fact, what I would probably do in a real casino here is this. I'd probably take half of my profit and lock it. And that back of the rack is locked. This is going home for sure. There's my original plus a guarantee of 75 bucks. I take this stack here and what's out here, and that's what we start playing with. So that's the 3-point Johnny where it worked out, okay? I'm gonna take all this money away. Because again, it doesn't matter what we do from here. From this point forward, you're just playing with your profits as aggressively as you'd like to play. What I'm gonna do is reset the whole rack, turn the puck off, and do it again. Because I don't think it's worthwhile to talk about a strategy like this unless you can see it happen a couple of times. And I think those of you who have channels that are running strategies, run this a number of times. Yeah, so Skill and Luck does this too. I'm gonna put up Eric's comments. Start with place bets and bring in come bets. That's a way to go too. I certainly do that, right? I will transition the other way as well. You can do that. This time, what I'm gonna do though, let's do a transition a different way. I'm gonna transition dark this time. If we can get these things to pay, let's do a dark side transition, just so you can see how that option plays out. We're gonna be coming out here to a 10. Point will be 10. Again, we'll start with the same base. The 3 come bets, if they can hit, again, it's a big if they hit, we'll move to the dark side. We're gonna go, I'll show you how to transition. There's the 8. 8 is a good one. We're gonna take all the odds we can on that 8. There's 5 units in odds. Into the come we go. For bet number 2. That's a 3, 2, 5. That goes to the 5. We're gonna take double odds on that 5. And our last come bet's gonna come out. Hopefully we can get these things to pay and not be fighting from behind so much. There's a 9, a 6, 3, 9. Good. We have 3 come bets and we're armed for battle here. Half our bankroll's out, by the way. We need 6 groups of 4. We have 3 groups of 4 left. So our whole, half our bankroll's out. We need to avoid big red here for a minute to get this thing to pay off for us. If we can do that, we're gonna be great shape. There's the 8, the 6, 2, 8. That is great. That's gonna come down. Earned you 1 in the front and 150 on the back side, right there. Now what we do, reset the rack. Let's look at where we are already. We're gonna be even in our rack. There's 4. We're totally even in the rack. We already earned back our money and our flat bet is here. I'm gonna take that flat bet. I'm gonna break it into nickels. I'm gonna come through the don't come with 10 bucks. And I'm off the come and I'm coming through the dark side here. I'm gonna hopefully not have the 7 right now, but we're gonna start moving this way. Instead of going to place bets and playing the long game, we're gonna go short game and hope that we can get these 2 to pay off and then live in the don't come for a minute here and get that 7 payout when it comes. The 6, 2, 8 does not matter. There's a 5, 1, 6. That's a bummer. We lose that don't pass bet or the don't come bet. Hard 6. If we had transitioned light side, we'd have been in great shape, right? 1, 2, 3, sugar. Hard 4. Let's get that 5 and 9 to hit, shall we? There's a 3, 2, 5. Awesome. 3, 2, 5. We'll do the same thing. 5's gonna come down. We're gonna get paid 1 in the front, 3 in the back on that. Again, the rack is already good. We already got ourselves even on the previous shot. So here's my profit stack. We're 125 in profit. Actually, I missed one. We'll take this quarter. I'm gonna break it down into reds, and I'm coming to the don't. And racking the other one. So now I've got this happening here. I've got 30 bucks in reds and 150 in greens. Let this bad boy resolve. There we go. That's a 12. It's a push in the don't. There's another 6, a hard 6. Hey, perfect, 6, 3, 9. Our don't goes behind the 9 comes down. And as before, gets paid 1 in the front. It gets paid 3 for the odds. Back to the rack we can run. Our profit is actually really, really strong. We've got 300 in profit with a $600 starting bankroll. That 25, we'll exchange it for reds and get another don't come bet coming through. And in fact, it probably makes sense to start putting some odds back here, right? So again, we'll probably do, I don't know, let's do 3 units in odds behind the 9 here, 3 to pay 2. Let this one come through, play for the 7. Ah, that's a bummer. It came here 1 shot early, so we'll lose our 10 bucks here, but this will come down. We get paid 10 for the flat, and we'll get paid 10 for the odds in the back here. If I color that up, actually I'll take these reds and color them all up. We'll go ahead and see where we stand. There is 75 bucks in red. Not bad. If you look at our overall profit, we started with 600 and we've got 375 in profit. Pretty good for 2 rolls there, right? And again, we transitioned the first time from the come bets into place bets, and we were in position to start doing the press to the speakers move, right? We were in position to start doing the up and pull, whatever you're gonna do here. The second time I ran it, we ran through the don't, okay? We got hit on 1, we lost our 6, the 9 paid off, and we had 1 on the way. So again, you can transition from your come bet strategy to a pure place bet, back to the come if you want to be like a rolling molly, or you can go in here. But the point is, use your profits to do that. Don't use rolling money from your rack to do that. So that worked out pretty well. And it serves as a pretty good example of how I kind of see things, right? I definitely don't like to just sit here and do the same thing over and over again. I like transitional strategies like this where it lets me reinvest my profits in ways that I think are going to be more winnable, and that to me works. So here we go. Pretty good session right there, huh? It doesn't always work out when I do a demo where the dice play nicely and allow me to demonstrate the system as it should be played and how it was designed. We did a nice job of recovering. The early session, we was a little bit choppy. We lost a couple of bets. We were down and we recovered, and that was good to see. In that second session, because of the numbers that got hit, we were deep in our bankroll. We had more than half of our bankroll out on the table, managed to get those come bets to repeat, win, and show us a profit. In both circumstances, worked out pretty well for us. And I think that it shows this strategy, the idea behind the strategy, which is this: make sure that you re-rack your initial investments, re-rack your flat bet and your odds, take your winnings and reinvest those for a lesser amount and start spreading out your play. It lets you lock up early. If you look at a 3-phase approach to gambling, like I do, where that phase 1 is to get your rack back to where you started, get your starting bankroll back in as quick as you can, this strategy does that as part of the way you play it by pulling back your initial bets. Phase 2 of those strategies is always to earn some profit and lock it. This strategy, again, because of the way those bets get paid, you're always bringing back your initial investment plus some profit with every hit. And the third phase is the reinvestment strategy, where you go hard when you're only playing with profits. And this strategy builds all of that into every bet. I like it because it gets us there quickly and, generally speaking, pretty safely. So that's the 3-Point Johnny. I hope that you enjoyed that. Leave me a note in the comments. If you've got a better way to play it, different ideas around how it could be, things that we could do to tweak it, I'm always open to your suggestions. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one. God bless.